Welcome everybody, and today we're taking a look at the latest cult classics released from StudioCanal, and it is 1989's Deep Star 6. So this is directed by Sean S. Cunningham, who obviously most well known for directing the first Friday the 13th film, which kicked off a whole series of horror sequels. And yeah, also did the film The New Kids though, which is a film I do highly recommend. And this is a science fiction horror film that clocks in at 99 minutes long. Not seen the cast in a great deal of films in the past, but it does star the likes of Miguel Ferreira, who was in like Flashpoint, The Guardian, Hot Shots Part 2, and obviously most well known for RoboCop. You've also got Matt McCoy, who was in The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, and finally Cindy Pickett, who was in Sleepwalkers and Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So the crew of an experimental underwater nuclear base are forced to struggle for their lives when their explorations disturb a creature that threatens to destroy their base. So yeah, this is one of several films released around 1989, 1990 that were either sci-fi horror or a combination of both that were set underwater in these like the kind of bases, I guess you could say, with The Abyss from James Cameron being the most successful and well-known of the lot. This, however, is my third favourite of them that I have seen, with Leviathan coming second and The Rift coming just behind this one. Now, unfortunately, though, this is let down by its similarity to other superior films, and although I appreciate the build up that it has, I just wish there were more interesting characters to watch during that build up. Thankfully, though, the majority of the production is great, which is pretty good for a $8.5 million film. The score is well done. The final half hour or so is really rather fun with plenty of violence, a good deal of amount of action scenes. Although for whatever reason the crew has shotguns on their underwater rig, which I don't find all that believable. But there we go. The pacing is on point. The limited locale is well used. The cinematography is solid, and the cast is good as well. So yeah, it's overall a solid effort in general, to be honest. But not anywhere near as good as Leviathan, which I do find to be a much more engaging effort. And that film also had a much larger budget at around 21 million, and it shows. Plus, obviously, then the Abyss would have an even bigger budget than Leviathan. So, it does seem to be the case that the bigger the budget, the better the film with these films from this period. But that's not to say that this is awful. It's just yeah, the lack of interesting characters, the similarities to other films, and the while the build up is appreciated, it could be, like I said, filled with more interesting aspects to it. But nonetheless, like I said, it is a 4K release, and yeah, also comes with 4 art cards from the film itself. So minor spoilers ahead if you've not seen it. So that is the creature himself, which looks absolutely superb. Um, One of the diving suits, which if you recognise that from another film, then you probably have seen the film For Your Eyes Only, the James Bond film, as that is featured in a diving scene or two in that film. In fact, the operator of one of them is a bad guy, and he actually gets blown up by Bond. So, yeah, and then there is a whole bunch of extras on the disc itself. We've got audio commentary with HorrorFix.com's James G. Chandler and Ash Hamilton from 2025. An audio commentary with the director himself and visual effects supervisor James Isaacs from 2001. So imagine that was on a DVD at the time. Audio commentary with screenwriters Lewis Abernathy and Jeff Miller from 2020. Weirdly enough, Lewis Abernathy will be one of the crew members that work alongside Bill Paxton's character in Titanic. So a little bit ironic that he was in a James Cameron knockoff and then ends up actually being in a James Cameron film. And then you got isolated score with audio commentary by composer Harry Manfredini, who obviously has done many great scores in the past, and his score certainly keeps this film as watchable as it is for a large proportion of it. Then you got From the Deep 2020 interviews with Mark Shostrom, Greg Nicotero, and Robert Kurtzman. The Survivors 2020 interviews with Greg Ivergan and Nancy Everhard. Water Damage 2020 interview with Kane Hodder. Behind the Scenes Vintage 1989 Featurette. Extended Vintage 1989 interviews with the cast and the crew. Original 1989 EPK. Stills Gallery, Theatrical Trailer, and TV spot as well. So there is a great deal of extras here. And then there's the 4K aspect of it itself. So the film is in the aspect ratio of 235:1. It's region free, as it is in region A, B, and C. 2160p Ultra HD transfer, LPCM stereo audio, English language soundtrack with English language subtitles on top of all of that. And yeah, it looks fairly good in terms of the 4K. I've only seen this on a streaming service transfer, which wasn't particularly good. So it is nice to have it in a much clearer and crisper image, but whether or not it's any better than the Blu-ray by a significant margin, I don't know. Although this has had a Blu-ray release alongside this 4K one as well. So yeah, I'd recommend probably going for the Blu-ray, at least if you're going to buy it, especially if you've not seen this film and you're not sure how it's going to be, because that is obviously a lot cheaper than this 4K. But, you know, it's still a film that is well worth watching, but if you've seen the likes of The Abyss and Leviathan, then you probably will enjoy those two more than this one. Because, yeah, they are, at the end of the day, a bit better in terms of quality. And, yeah, you can tell that they've got the bigger budget going on as well. So, yeah, but still a fairly decent effort, especially when it comes to the final half hour or so, which is really, really fun. But yeah, you can do better with underwater, you know, sci-fi or sci-fi and horror, as in the case of this. Nonetheless, though, thank you for watching. If you have seen DeepStar 6 before, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.